Hello, hello, my lovelies. Here I am at Poison Spores. Cause I don't know, I just got a wild hair. Decided I want to walk from Pront to Geffen. Cause I remembered there was some cool stuff in between here and there. But I didn't have any idea specifically what it was until I got here. Yeah, this is it. A beautiful map with monsters that are good for my level. Here's my stats. 35 plus 2 strength, 50 plus 7 agi, and 19 plus 2 dexterity. I'm keeping agi 10 to 20 ahead of strength. Just because I'm going with no gear and it's pretty smooth. Smooth way to do it. With gear, I'd go strength over agi. Oh, here's my gear. Plus 3 Damascus. And until I get cards for it, it's just the same as an NPC Damascus. But it technically isn't. It has 2 sockets, 2 slots. That's what we call them. This isn't Diablo. And, yeah, here's my skills. I got the essentials. It's just double attack and improved dodge. And I'm just building up the other stuff now. I'm gonna go job 50 because it's thief and it's easy and fun. And I don't like feeling weak when I change to second class, so that'll make sure I feel strong and good. I'll be level 60 something as an assassin instead of 50 something. And I got throw stone, but I can't actually pick up stones yet. I forget what else I need for that. I think I wrote it down though. Hang on. M. Yeah, 1 barefoot skin, 1 Zargon, and 5 spawn. Yeah, so all I need is the 5 spawn. I think I get those from Thara frogs, which I think are supposed to be east of Comodo. So maybe I'll hit that up next. We'll see. The gambler's fallacy is the idea that 2 rare events can't happen too quickly next to each other. Hey, I was just talking about that like an episode or 2 ago. I was saying if you roll enough dice, you should expect to get a bunch of sprees of all kinds. You should expect unlikely things to happen in a large enough data set. Skit says, for example, I won't get 2 card drops quickly, so I need to make sure my next card drop is what I want. He said in reality, they still have an equal independence chance regardless. And he's right. Finding a card does not reduce your chances of finding another one in the next kill, the very next kill. It's just that statistically, that will almost never happen. And that in all likelihood, you'll find it, thousands of kills later. It just goes to show you that we don't experience the world the way that it is exactly. Because what we just described is the way that the world is. But our experience of the world has more to do with probabilities. If you play the game long enough, you get a sense that the probability that you'll find a card after you find a card, soon after you find a card, is much lower than that you'll find it long after you find a card. The latter is much more common than the former. So your feeling that you spent your card luck right after you find a card you didn't want or weren't looking for isn't entirely misplaced. It does reflect the reality of the situation. The objective mathematical reality of it. Just the one that describes your experience of objective reality rather than objective reality. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. If you have 77 luck, something meh happens. That sounds like Archangeling card to me. Archangeling is so hard to kill. I feel like his card should be better. That Meow Party. I won't say I regret it, but I'm glad I stopped when I did. I really don't want to rush through Thiefhood. Just letting someone else do all my killing for me. I like watching the gradual progression of my speed and strength. And maps and monsters. I've heard it said that Lao Yang was the worst thing that ever happened to this game. I have mixed feelings on it. I can kind of see both sides of it. Because on one hand, yeah, it did make people not have to learn their class, you know? Because it simplifies all the classes down to 2 roles, runner or killer. They each do their role a little differently. Like if you're a thief, you might do like stone fling instead of poking it with a spear like a swordie. Or provoking it. But you're essentially doing the same thing, which is just aggroing it, so you can run it. Whoa, base and job at the same time. Let's get my strength up. 1 away from 40. I'm gonna get my steel up. I'm gonna want that maxed out for Toy Factory. Alright, I got my 40 strength bonus. Let's put my stuff in storage. But I'm gonna keep the poison spores on this guy. Turn it into some walking around money. Empty bottles too. It's good to have a spear in storage. You never know when you might need a spear. SP items, I won't need those on this guy. Few B-wings, yeah. Let's get a bunch of those. Cool, and I got another Elu I can use to upgrade my coat. My fabled coat. Da 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 da. Look at these beautiful tiles. Man, I love it. I want to replicate these tiles IRL. These smooth river stones. Geffen, my digital home away from home. Yeah, keep rocking. Keep rocking, Geffen music. It's the sound of eternity. Alright, let's see. Keep the garlets. Get rid of these. Keep the foot skins. Get rid of the iron ore. 32,000 zenny pennies. For a total of 50,000. Let's shop around. Slotted cap. That's fair. It's a fair hat right there. I just never like the look of it. I prefer it to pink hat though. Oh, someone bought one of the fire damas. I'm never gonna have enough money and time for it, but I really want to buy it. Okay, back to the thiefy. You've got some goodies to sell. And then I think I'm gonna go to Comodo and get those spawns. I'd like to be done with these quests. I do need one more job level to do the other skill quests. But I'm not too far from it. Comodo's not far from Morroc, so that works out. And I already have the stuff for it. 280. That's the best poison spore so far. 425 is the best bottle. You win it all. 62, 76k total. I told you, that's some good money. See, the only thing about recording Thief gameplay is that I'm kind of always solo. And I prefer it that way, most of the time. So it's not very interesting to watch. But I'll just have to run my mouth. You know, I was wondering lately, who is the prettiest Caphra in the game? But conventional wisdom says Comodo or Umbala. The party girls. Welcome. I don't think I'm gonna save here. Actually, but no, I should. There's pests out there. Save. Look, I did a smart. There's like pests and megaliths and other things that can kill me. Tri-joint, is that what it's called? Look at these beautiful colors. So I need 5 spawns and 5 Thara frog cards. Whoa, someone's here? Who killed that Hydra? I was gonna kill it. Well, I got it on recording. I'll have to watch it back. Find out who that was. I have seen some very bot-like behavior in some very bottable maps. But only like twice. So I get 0.5 and 0.4. I'm gonna kill so many frogs. Thara. Yeah, this was a good level to do this. Still give reasonable EXP. They're not too easy, not too hard. Okay, maybe they're a little too easy. I do like a challenge. Hey, it's Hawk! I know you! Hey, hey! She's AFK like I was. Hey, she said... She waved at me. She'll be my RO girlfriend. But don't tell her, she might reject me. The megalodons here are undead. And you can heal bomb them. It's actually kinda cool. I never did, but you could. Here, let me fight one. Yeah, they're not so bad. Except it doesn't drop anything. That's right, I need 5 Hydra cards too. 5 Thara cards, 5 Hydra cards. And that's really all I need. I don't need to stay here forever, you know. It's like a couple hours. Should do a trick. Stinky scale. $244. Looks like she's using Damascus too. I think it'll be polite to go the opposite direction, because there's really only one major loop on this map that needs to be circulated. So better just to go the opposite direction. That way we don't overlap and fight for the same monsters. We just pass each other. Mist Wolf Steelfang. Is that my freaking name? It hits me anew every few hours, and I'm like, really? Did I do that name? It's very bold. And so far, I still like it. Maybe I should be bold more often. The spotlight on GH has ended. Oh shucks, I didn't even know about it. It's now on Lighthausen and Einbrock. Okay. I don't think I'll be using those. Guess I'll eat my red herbs. Yeah, Bio-Tea would be pretty fun, actually. Wait, is Magma part of Einbrock? I thought that was Juno. Maga? Make Aldebaran great again. You know, I was thinking Aldebaran. Like, dang it, I wish they would spotlight Aldebaran. I want to do Toy Factory. Hi, I'm a little new to this. Is there a way to reset my stats? If yes, where would I go to stat reset? Yeah, Magma's not in Einbrock or Lighthausen. That's in Juno, friendo. So after this awake, I'll go learn this skill. Or maybe after the job level, because then I can learn all of them. Except for throw sand, but nobody cares about that. Let's see, their only good loot is card, really, so I shouldn't bother stealing from them. Because you can't steal cards. Well, more technically, it's that you can't steal things in the 8th item slot of their item list. Their item drop list. It just so happens that that's always where the card is on the list. If they have a card. And when they don't have a card, they are a great target for steal exploits. Oh, there's been so many of the years. Where do I begin? So there was the Rogue Job Change quest that had Abysmal Nights. But they were quests specific Abysmal Nights, made specifically for the Rogue Job Change quest. And so people would go in there as thieves. And just steal Elu from the Abbey Knights all day long. Farm Elu like that. I think there was a similar exploit with Anubis. When you stole from it, you wouldn't get anything. But when you did get something, it was always a healing staff. That's Nereid. He's actually kind of dangerous. Yeah. No. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Run away, run away. I'll keep him kind of in the open area. So that he doesn't... Because in the tight areas, he'll just kill you. You can't get away from him. It would be a jerk move to drag him into the choke point. I mean, when you have high attack speed, first aid's actually pretty decent. So I'm at 80% job. You know, honestly, I think I like this game better without the monster health bars under their feet. It was kind of cooler or more interesting to like not know exactly when it's gonna die. You had to develop a feel for it. And you could, it wasn't that hard to do. But yeah, you got a feel for like about how long it takes you to kill one. And you could even count the hits if you wanted. I never did unless it was a low enough count that like you don't even have to count them, you know? Like, oh, I'm two-shotting this. Like, well, I didn't count them, I just know what 2 is when I see it. But yeah, you'd be surprised at how far you can stretch that ability. Not only do you know what 2 hits looks like, you can actually develop a sense for what 8 hits looks like. And 10 and 12. Without counting. And you will if you play long enough. In the same place, with the same gear, the same character. You'll just develop a feel for when it's time to switch to the next target. Or when it's safe to click to walk away. Even though your character, to look at him, is still attacking. You know that by the time the click happens and registers to the server, your character will have finished the attacks and killed the monster. So yeah, without the monster health bars, Ragnarok becomes a little more of a rhythm game. Where you fall into the rhythm of your grind, whatever it is. And the better you can fall into the rhythm, the better results you'll get. You'll get more experience per hour, more loot. And it's marginally more, but over many hours it adds up to a lot. The player who can fall into the rhythm of his attack speed and all that, just a little bit better than the player who can't, is over time going to just get so far ahead of the player who can't that there will be a big difference in their levels and their gear and all that. There's Zinni. And it was cool. It was cool to have those inequalities manifest. I think inequality gets a bad rap. Every time you go to work, you're trying to increase the inequality between you and everyone else. Because if everybody gained the same amount of money that you were gaining when you go to work, or you do a job, you wouldn't actually gain anything. Because your wealth exists in relationship to everyone else's wealth. And so does everything on the economy that you could buy. And so once you know that what you're doing when you work for money is you're actually trying to increase the wealth inequality between you and the people who make less money than you. And that you pretty much succeed every time because they make less money than you. They're gaining money at a slower rate. I think it was around League of Legends time. The League of Legends era. When there was a paradigm shift in game design. Where all game designers suddenly became very concerned with making their games perfectly balanced across the classes and player choices. And making it balanced that it plays very well as MOBA, a multiplayer online battle arena sort of game, like League of Legends. And so the industry shift in design was prompted by the popularity of one game. Because whenever something gains an extreme amount of success, everybody wants to copy it. They want that success. And so you get tons of copycats. And some of those copycats just straight up directly try to copy the characters and the maps and the gameplay and all that. But probably more of them do their copying in a subtler way, by changing their design philosophies and trying out the ones that exist in the successful game, even if the genre of the successful game is not the same genre as the game you were designing, and even when the audience that plays your game is not the same audience of gamers or gamer types that play your game and like it. So one of the unhappy side effects of game designers just going with the popular design philosophies of the day, unthinkingly, is that they can actually ruin their own game by designing it with systems and philosophies that do not suit the genre and that the player base will not like and are not there for. And also sometimes, instead of causing your game to fail, what it actually does is it just reconditions your players, especially in a game that's already established. And this is kind of what happened in World of Warcraft, where World of Warcraft was originally a game very decidedly based in Dungeons and Dragons and role-playing. And if you go and play the classic version of World of Warcraft, that's extremely obvious. There were some pronounced inequalities between the classes in PvP and PvE and all that. PvE in WoW is the equivalent of what we call in Ragnarok PvM. It's just the player versus the monsters, basically. I don't know why they developed different terminologies for it, but the E stands for environment, player versus environment, of which the monsters are a part, but still, it's kind of weird. So anyway, I'm job 35. I should be able to get all but one of the skill quests, the quest skills for Thief. I think I have all the materials for it. So let's go do that now. Yeah, over time, World of Warcraft, its D&D design philosophies and RPG design philosophies were shed little by little, until it came to have more in common with an adventure game. And the process happened so gradually over multiple decades and expansions that a lot of its player base didn't even notice that their RPG was slowly transforming into an adventure game. And so if you read WoW discussions and debates about its design, you'll encounter that a lot. You'll encounter a lot of players who feel the way I feel, which is that it's not really an RPG made for RPG players anymore. It's trying to cater to other or too many other types of players, so it lost its soul. And also people who are saying that it is still an RPG. Look, it has all the RPG appearances and tropes and UI and it has levels. Isn't that the definitive characteristic of RPGs is levels? It's like, yeah, I guess, but I mean, Call of Duty has levels, and that's not an RPG. You are role-playing in Call of Duty, but at least in the literal video game meaning of role-playing, where if you're playing a character, you're playing a role, whatever role that character fills in that fictional role. And so in Call of Duty, all the roles are essentially the same. You're just a warrior, a soldier. But yeah, these days lots of games take design elements of RPGs and borrow from them and put them in their game to make them have just a wider appeal. And so the genre creep actually goes in all directions. It's not just other genres are creeping into RPG design. Other genres are borrowing from RPG design for their own genres. And you can even hear from those players, like diehard fans of shooter games or strategy games. There's an outcry from them saying they don't like the RPG elements that are being put into their games. They miss when it was just more of a purist experience of that genre, I guess. Maybe not purist, let's say traditional. Where traditionally shooter games, you're dropped into a world with little or no story, and the player understands that this is a game about execution, not progression or story. Execution and maybe a little bit of story, maybe like a campaign or something you could run through one time for the fun of it. But ultimately, most of the players are there to test their execution skills and hone them against other real players. A Zubat! You don't want to let him get the leech life on you, or you'll never kill him. What is your name? Alcusco. 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 That's it. As you live life, you will encounter many things. Sometimes you will not understand and wonder why some things are so important. You may consider it as useless knowledge, but it isn't. Let me explain. Interesting fella, I like him. Fine stone. The skilled and experienced members of our guild are usually very handy. They can pick up a small stone by the road and use it to hit an opponent accurately and quickly from a distance. They realized what a waste it was to not teach this skill to others. They founded a group to train others in this skill. That is how the find stone and stone fling skills came to be. It is handy to be able to find a stone in most any place and have the ability to hurl it into a distant enemy. A very valuable skill indeed. Without costing you a zenny, you can have this skill at your disposal. I really think of this as a great skill. What do you think of it? Ha ha ha. Alright, let's first begin by practicing how to pick up one bear's foot skin to familiarize the action. And in lieu of a stone, try picking up a Zargon. Would that be too little? Let's add 5 spawn. I don't have a Zargon? Show me your skill. Retrieve these items by any means you see fit. Well, I can buy a Zargon. It's fine. Ah, here we are. 364 zenny. But yeah, in the WoW discussions, you'll see a lot of people who still think they're playing an RPG. They haven't noticed that it's an adventure game now. An adventure game that has levels. Alcusco. Fine stone. Wow, you have already prepared? Great, I see promise in you. Your zeal is truly sincere. Okay, shall we begin your training? Stone throwing. Find a smooth stone with a good weight. Picking the right stone is very important in being successful. Well, I could tell you a million times, but it is better to see for yourself. Okay, why don't you try the skill out right here where I can watch you. Shweeput. Shiguk. Shiak. Very nice. You seem to take up the skill easily. You can improve your skill with practice on your own time. I hope it aids you in the future. Hope to see you soon. Bam! Now the proud owner of picking up stones. Aha! 11 will do. Let's make it an even 12. Baker's dozen here. Let's make it 13. Alright. What else did I need to learn? Backslide. Okay, let's practice. Suck. Sook. Suck. Sook. Great. At this level, I am sure you can increase your skill on your own. Backslide. Cool, cool. Let's do, Alt-A. That'll be good for dodging Minoris's Hammerfall. That was the first place I found a use for backslide. I felt so cool about it. Well, I can't do it again? It won't let me spam it. I noticed those alt hotkeys are kind of unreliable. I don't know why. Mao, the East Cave. Awaken my potential. The 168 attack speed. Going for that good old 170. Then 175. And 179. I don't know how much higher I could get. I might just find out. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't play World of Warcraft for a long time. If I play it at all these days, it's gonna be some classic server or something. I won't play the new stuff. I fell off of the retail WoW at the end of Warlords. That was the last time I played it. I played a Warlock, and it was actually pretty cool. I was just raiding, doing some of the highest raiding there was. But at the end of the expansion, when it didn't matter, it was all about to be outdated. I just liked the rotation and stuff. It was interesting and complex enough to stay interesting. Plus, I'd never played a Warlock, so the whole style, the whole like priority system style of DPS rotation was somewhat new to me. I had done a little bit of it on Feral Druid and Wrath of the Lich King, but never to that extent. It's just about uptimers. You're just trying to keep all your debuffs up. And you list them in priority, so some are more important to keep up than others. And those are the first ones you want to recast in situations when you've got to pick. And there's a lot more to it, you know. You gotta manage soul stones and mana. Mana. And your health, because even that's a resource on a Warlock. And your pet. But yeah, I love classes that have pets. I think in most games. Yeah, I think in every game. The Ranger class or the Pet Haver class. I'm always drawn to that. Hunter in WoW, love it. Hunter in Ragnarok, love it. Alchemist in Ragnarok, love it. Necromancer in Diablo 2. Yep, he's got lots of pets. I guess you can call them pets. That's pretty cool. Druid in Diablo 2. I like the aesthetic of it, but and if I'm gonna play a Druid in Diablo 2, it's probably gonna be a summoner type for that reason, rather than like an elemental type. But yeah, I liked Druid. Probably Diablo 2 is the place where I least was drawn to Druid or the Pet Havers. I think maybe just because there were a lot of pets. I wasn't really like focused on one. It was just kind of like, here's your 3 wolves and your bear and whatnot. They don't have names. They're gonna die quickly, and they're replaceable. You get a new one every time you resummon it. Not like the pets on WoW. Like, here's your pet. It's your pet forever. Give it a name. and put it in a stable, train it, level it up like it's yourself. But yeah, the like the nature guy with a pet, or just any guy with a pet, pretty drawn to those classes. Warrior, I'm always drawn to that. I've got to try it every game I play. It's probably going to be the first thing I try in most games, because it is really the centerpiece of every game's design, every class-based game's design, and when it isn't, it should be, because all the classes are warriors essentially. And so if your warrior who's actually a warrior is not good and fun to play, it's probably a bad design. Probably a bad game. The rest of the game should be designed around the warrior who's actually a warrior. And then the others are like nature warrior, bow warrior, magic warrior, and support warrior, and all that. Support's the one where it kind of breaks a little bit. Some supports are actually true full supports. They're not really doing any fighting. But even those, in our world, we would still call them warriors, just a different word for it. We would call them soldiers. Like that's a medic soldier. And so really, they're all kind of warriors still. They're the ones who go out and do the battle. On the front lines in the danger zone. Winning security for the rest of us. In whatever way they can. Whatever way is needed. So yeah, nature guy with a pet, or just guy with a pet. Any guy with a pet. Warrior. And then the wizard or magician guy. Him. But I think maybe even more so than him, I'm drawn to the anti-wizard, or the meta-wizard. Like the secondary wizard, whatever that is. Oh, I forgot Guild Wars. Yeah, I played Warrior mainly in Guild Wars. A Warrior Monk. And then I switched to Warrior Ellie when I found out that was better for PvP. Or GVG. But I would switch back to Warrior Monk a lot, because I liked it. Being a paladin of a sort. And Ranger, I played that a lot too. That was kind of my second main, or my original main on Guild Wars. And he's the nature guy with a bow and a pet. But maybe interestingly, I wasn't drawn to the secondary wizard of Guild Wars. That was the Mesmer. Because the primary wizard was Elementalist. I wasn't drawn to that either, actually. But maybe a little more so than Mesmer, I was. Yeah, I think before it's all said and done, I will have to try an Elementalist on Guild Wars 1. That's some unfinished business I got with Guild Wars. But yeah, I'm still just uninterested in the Mesmer. He's a little too feminine for me, a little too much like a bard or something. But undeniably powerful. I put the Mesmer bot on my team pretty much every time. Because he's a subtle mage. He's one that does a lot of damage, but he does it in a way that is not going to be like intrusive or flashy or in the way or draw a lot of aggro or attention like the elementalists. He does damage more like a warlock. Dots, dots, dots. You just degenerate their health. And cripple them and curse them. And put debuffs on them that hurt them when they try to do things. Like move or cast spells. That's the anti-magic element there. I like that in Ragnarok too. That's what I like about Sage and Scholar. I can outsmart the smart guy. That's what it is. I like outsmarting the smart guy. Boy, is that fun, because he's just so used to being the smartest guy around. Somebody's got to put him in his place. And sure, he's still better than me in some regards. I can't do damage like he can, but I can stop him from doing it to other people. In Ragnarok, I can break his spells and shatter his SP, or steal it and give it to other people, and lock him in place and turn him to stone, absorb his magic and turn it into energy for me, for my friends. On Guild Wars, I can make it hurt so bad for him to cast spells that he just won't even want to anymore. I'll just go cower in a corner until my debuff is gone. I love magic, but I really hate people who abuse it. That's what it is. I hate people who abuse their power. And since wizards and mages obviously have the most power out of everybody, those are the ones that they need someone to keep them in check. Wizards are just so arrogant, aren't they? Glad I'm not one of them. But then you could wonder, well, who's going to keep the anti-wizard in check? But I don't think it's necessary, because the anti-wizard doesn't have the power that a wizard has. He has a lot of power, but it's power to counter the wizard's power, and that's all it's really good for. He can't blow things up like a wizard can. He can just neutralize the bombs, you know? Protections in the area that are about to get bombed. Or deactivate them. The fire and the ice and the stones. And the lightning. You know what else sages and scholars do that counters wizards in a way? It's not so much a direct counter. It's more of an evening of the playing field. They do endows and ground buffs and stuff. Things that buff the non-wizard characters. Sort of gives them a fighting chance against the wizards. Well, not so much against the wizards, but somewhat a little bit, but more in competition with the wizards. Or positions in parties and roles and all that. Opportunities to be the hero. Those skills help break up the wizard's monopoly on being the hero, the main character, by letting other people be the hero sometimes too. And I think I'm often drawn to the sneaky assassin, fast attacky guy in RPGs. But not always. Like in World of Warcraft, I'm very not interested in the sneaky, fast attacky guy, the rogue. I had one rogue one time, and I don't think he got past level 20. I don't know why exactly. Maybe that game just soured me on rogues early on, because they were just so overpowered for so long. But I love the rogue equivalent in Ragnarok. I love assassin and thief, and even rogue. I was late to the party regarding Ragnarok rogue, but when I did finally get around to playing them, I was like, yeah, this is cool. This is in my ballpark here. I still like assassin better, but rogue's pretty cool. Even though I like the mage and wizard archetypes, the sorcerer type, I'm drawn to it. I don't actually end up playing it as much as you might expect. It's kind of actually pretty rare that I play it. And I think the reason is because I already know I would be good at it and like it. And since RPGs to me are like identity explorations, it makes it not a very interesting exploration. Assassin is one that I already know I like, but what I don't know is whether I'm good at it or not. And so I think that's maybe the big part of the draw of it to me. Because I never really got all the way with it. I've gotten far with it, but not like all the way, like high level Synex with lots of good gear and stuff. And since I never got all the way with it, I never all the way found out if I'm good at it. I just got far enough to find out that I'm good at leveling with it, and that I enjoy it. But you know, it's just a game, and it's not that complicated of a game. I know I can be good at any class I put my mind to. So yeah, maybe it has more to do with proving myself than finding out whether I can. Maybe just experiencing it, I don't know. I'll tell you what, Soul Destroyer is a cool skill. But it is not even remotely what I like about Assassin or Synex. It's kind of antithetical to what I like about Assassin and Synex. I mean, I like the sneak attack element of it. But what I don't like is the one-trick pony element of it. Where if you want to be really good with Soul Destroyer, you've got to make yourself a one-trick pony. Where Soul Destroyer is like all you do. And you're very good at it, but it's kind of all you can do. When you build with strength and int. And dex. So if I end up getting Soul Destroyer, I'll probably leave most of the int, if not all of it, out. And just lean on the strength part of it. Da-da-da-da-da-da! Level 47. Cool, cool. Alright, I'm gonna get Agi to... Let's get it closer, maybe at 60. I'm debating when to switch to Dex. I want to get 10 more Dex. I don't want to stunt Agi right now. But maybe soon. But since I haven't played retail WoW in so long, I don't know how true that adventure game description of it is. I've just seen videos of it. And it looks like it has more in common with an adventure game than an RPG now. It's a bit more on rails, a bit more story heavy. It's more narrated. Really, it's just, it asks less of the player all around. And RPGs, that's kind of the opposite of what they do. It's almost as if the more the RPG asks of you, the better an RPG it is. Because that's one of the factors that gets you immersed in your character and its identity. And really transforms the experience of playing the game into an exploration of identity. Whatever class you chose, and build, and personality, and all that. Backstory, even, for some of them. And guild, and allegiance, and professions. Unlike World of Warcraft, Ragnarok doesn't explicate to you how the mechanics work. Originally, WoW didn't too much either. It slowed you a little bit. But over time, it did more and more. But yeah, since it doesn't tell you how the mechanics work explicitly, except, you know, a little bit here and there, you're mostly left to figure them out for yourself. And since you have to figure them out yourself, you do. Some players don't. Some players will not care about the mechanics, and they'll just play by feel. Which I'm not judgmental of. I have a lot of respect for that way of playing games. And I kind of wish I would try it more. But most players, since they have to learn it, they do learn the mechanics. And that demands them to engage and pay attention more. And once they're doing that, they're doing what the character they're playing in the story would do if they were really him, if he was real. Because you can imagine if you had to venture into this waterlogged cave and fight like hydras for attacking you with tentacles and giant frogs, like skeleton fish. It'd be horrifying. It'd be a nightmare. A living nightmare. Whoa, like this Dryad. And so before you go in there, you would make sure that all your ducks are in a row. All your gear is upgraded the highest you can possibly get it. You have all the potions you could possibly need and more. You got attack speed potions. You know your build, it's perfect. You know the mechanics. You've studied a little bit about what the monsters are on this map, what they do, what their elements are, what element you should bring, what element you should wear. And this map is kind of a bad example to illustrate what I mean because it's easy. But yeah, you can imagine that, or remember, the feeling of going to a new dungeon that you know is very difficult, that you've never done before. Like maybe your first time at Ice Titans or something. And all the preparation you did to get the right gear for it, to make an endow sage. You can endow yourself. You calculated how much flea you're going to need. You made an ice pick. That's a lot of preparation. And it's proportionate to the amount of preparation that you would do if you were the actual character who had to go up against a giant golem made of ice who's sentient and trying to kill you in a cave of ice where there are hundreds of them and worse things. Having the game made that way, it engages your planning and preparation faculties where pure execution games don't. They just ask you to execute the sequence the right way. But in Ragnarok, the sequence is kind of the easy part. You just walk up to it and click it. It can get a lot more intriguing if you play like a wizard or something, but yeah, a lot of times it's about that easy or close to it. You just walk up and bowling bash it. Okay, you gather like 8 of them and then you stop and you bowling bash them. Or you gather up like 15 of them and you stop and hide and grimtooth them. Or you're just a wizard, you follow your priest around magma. And when he stops, you start casting Stormgust. Very simple gameplay in terms of execution. But yeah, it's the journey that led up to it, and all the planning, and gear hunting, and building, and calculating. That's what infuses those otherwise mundane moments with meaning in an RPG. It's all the stuff that came before it. And this is the next part of your story. You're finally gonna start leveling in Ice Titans, or Magma, or whatever your place is. And when you've spent a sufficient amount of time there and mastered that, got enough gear and stats and knowledge, you'll be ready for the next new adventure. Killing Satan Morroc, or going to the New World. Go into Thor's volcano.